So you want to learn how to create this crazy vortex blast effect inside of After Effects? Well, I'm about to break it down step by step in this tutorial, and it actually requires a bunch of steps, so make sure to stick around to the end. But before we get into it, I just want to let you guys know that I'm Lurking Visuals and I run the Stay Creative store, where we got all of the presets, assets, overlays, and all of the good stuff that you need to elevate your music video visuals. But you know where to find the link to that. Enough of that promo, let's get right into the tutorial. So I'm in After Effects and I got my clip right here of this laser dim music video. It's a basic clip, nothing special. My subject moves a lot in this scene, but I'll still try my best to mask him out and add some effects on. So I'll start off by rotoscoping out my subject, so make sure that your quality is on full, and then you can just grab the roto brush tool, select your clip, and just start masking out your subject. I'll probably skip this part because this is fairly easy. You should already know how to do this. So I just finished masking out my subject and it looks like this right now. And as you can see, the mask is pretty rough, especially around these edges. And make it look a lot better, I'll be adding on a refined soft matte effect. I'll drag down the additional edge radius to like 4, maybe even 3, something like this, and drag up the feather. And now if we go through our mask and look around the edges, you can see that it's a lot more smooth and it just looks a lot better overall. So this is pretty much essential to all of my masks, so make sure to add this effect on. But now when we've done that, we can duplicate this layer and we'll remove all of the effects from the background layer. So now we got a subject layer and a background layer, and all of the effects will go on the background layer because it's a vortex blast. I'll start off by adding on the first effect, which is flow motion, and this is just a built-in effect in After Effects. You don't need any paid plugins for this one. And I'll be dragging up the amount a lot to like 300, something like this, and put it to the middle. Put the knot to the middle, just grab it and drag it into the middle like this. You can see that this effect is really heavy right now, so we'll be keyframing this and press U on our keyboard so we can see our keyframe. And then I'll go into like 1 second and then I'll put it down to 0. If you got a shorter clip, then of course you can't go to 1 second, but just go like close to the end of your scene. And we'll be messing with the graph at the end, so we'll just keep it as it is for now. And then I'll add on a prism displacement from Universe. And like I said, it's from Universe, so it's a paid plugin. And if you don't have Universe, you could honestly just skip this effect. It's just a detail that makes the effect look a little bit better. I'll be setting my displacement source to my background layer. And now you can tell that it's all over the place. So I'll put the glass refraction to 2.6 and the reflective index to 2.4. And then we can drag up the soften displacement map to like 50 something. And now we got a bunch of colors in here and it's basically all over the place, but we'll be adding on some more effects to make it look like a little bit more presentable. So let's keyframe all of the settings that we just messed with and go to 1 second, and let's drag them all down to 0 or just as low as they can go. So now you can see that we got our subject back and the background looks good. Now I'll be adding on a tritone effect to change the color so we don't gotta look at all of these colors. So we got the highlight, midtones, and shadows. I usually just change the midtones. So if I want like a green background, I just change it to green like this. And now all of the colors obviously are gone, but it will look a lot better when we splash on the vortex blast. This is just to make it a little bit more trippy. And another effect that I'll add on to make it even more trippy is a Displacer Pro. And this is also a plugin, but this one is completely free, so you can just search up Displacer Pro and you'll probably find it. Just download it off the official website so you don't get any viruses. But I'll grab the Displacer Pro effect and I'll set the translate X to 125, and I'll set the rotate to 80, positive 80, and let's change the edge behavior to mirror repeat. So now it's a lot that's going on right now, but we'll keyframe the translate X and the rotation, and then we can go around here to 1 second and let's turn it all down to 0. And you can't forget to reset the tritone color. So let's keyframe the blend with original, and let's just drag the keyframe like a few frames before the end, and let's drag up the blend with original to 100. So it goes from this green color to the normal. But now we got a lot going on, which is really good because I like the look of this. And I'll add on one last effect to make it a little bit more trippy, which is the turbulent displays. And this is not a paid plugin, it's just built in After Effects. So we can drag up the amount to 150 and the size to like 300. And let's keyframe the amount like we always do, and then go to 1 second and drag it down to 0. And of course you can mess with the complexity, evolution, and all of that good stuff, but I feel like we got enough of trippy effects in here, so we don't really necessarily got to do that. But feel free to mess with all of these effects. Now I'll add on the warp vortex effect from Sapphire, and this is the effect that gives us that vortex look, obviously. And I'll drag up the vortex start to -68, just like this, or you could go positive 68. Doesn't really matter. It's like it just goes the other way, so it's not a huge difference. And I'll drag up the angle offset to 100, so you can see that we get a different vortex if we have it on 0 compared to 100. It's just the angle, so it's not a huge difference. But let's keyframe the vortex start and go to 1 second. And from here we can drag it down to 0. Oh yeah, of course we got keyframe the angle offset as well and drag it down to 0. So we'll have a lot of movement with this vortex effect, and you can also mess with the inner radius and the Z distance. But for now, I'll play it through and see what we got. And right now it looks like this, which isn't smooth because we haven't messed with the graph editor, but you can still see that the background looks good. So before we mess with the graph editor, I just want to add on a deep glow. I'll also try to keep this subtle, so we'll drag up the threshold to like 80. We can drag up the exposure and drag down the radius to something like this. This just makes the effect look a lot better overall, so we can keyframe the exposure, go to 1 second and drag down the exposure to 0. And let's press U on our keyboard, and now we can see all of our keyframes in here. So now you simply just gotta select all of them and press F9 to ease the ease. And then all you gotta do is go in to each keyframe and create a graph that looks something like this. So it goes fast in the beginning and then slows down throughout the clip. And you can choose how much you want it to, like how fast you want it to be for the first couple of frames. So to do that, you just drag this in. But honestly, this would take way too long for me, so I'll just select all of these keyframes and then I'll open up the flow plugin right here. And this plugin is not free, but it's really good. So I just gotta create my graph like this, however I want it to look, and then just click apply. And then it's applied to all of my keyframes. So if I open up this one, you can see that it's applied. If I open up this one, you can see that it's applied as well. I'm not sponsored, but it's just a good plugin. For this tritone, I'll do the opposite way, like this, because it goes like from 0 to 100. All of the other ones go from like 100 to 0. So it's the complete opposite for that one. But for the rest of these effects, you should just do it like this. And then don't forget to turn on motion blur, of course. If you want it on, of course, you don't have to turn it on. And now just a couple of final touches. I'll add on a create slide wrap to my subject layer. This effect is actually really good when it comes to these background effects, because all I gotta do is simply just pre-compose my background layer and then go to the create slide wrap effect. And this effect is a free plugin, I forgot to say it, so you could simply just download it off Production Crate. And let's set the background layer to our background layer, of course. Drag down the wrap width and drag up the background blur a little bit. And let's drag up the exposure, and I can see like around the edges right here, you can see that the glow from the vortex kind of like glows onto our subject, so it makes it look like a lot more realistic. Just mess with the settings, try to get it to look as good as possible, but something like this usually looks good for me, maybe a little bit lower. But yeah, that's just a subtle detail, it's not too noticeable. And another final touch I'll add is a new adjustment layer, and I'll add on the RSMB plugin, which is a motion blur, so it's just an extra motion blur. I'll drag down the blur amount to 0.2 and the motion sensitivity to like 50, so it's not too obvious, it's just an extra detail. But that's pretty much it. If you like these trippy background effects, then I actually got a full pack with I think 22 trippy background effects that you can just simply drag and drop in your After Effects. Like the way it works, you just go to your animation presets. Here I got the trippy background effects version 2, and here I got 4K or HD. The video that I'm working on right now is HD, so I just open the HD file and I can drag on the Vortex Blast, the one that I just created. And you can see like it's the exact same effect I just showed you guys, but with a different color that you can obviously change. But yeah, except for this effect, I got 22 other drag and drop presets in both 4K and HD, so feel free to go and grab that pack. I'll have it linked in the description for you guys. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. You know where to find the full pack if you want to go check it out. So